Jazz didn't just cross continents, it invaded them. This wasn't a gentle cultural exchange. This was a revolution export. A sound so powerful, so undeniable, that it rewrote musical roles on every continent it touched. Born in the marginalized communities of Black America, forged in the aftermath of slavery, jazz became the most influential musical form of the 20th century. It conquered Paris before it conquered much of America. It sparked dance crazes in Tokyo. It inspired resistance movements in Prague. Kings banned it. Dictators feared it. And yet, it spread, unstoppable, transformative. This is the story of how a music born from oppression became the soundtrack of global freedom. To understand jazz, you must understand where it came from. After the Civil War, formerly enslaved people faced a new reality, freedom without resources. But they had something that couldn't be taken away, their culture. Spirituals, work songs, the rhythmic complexity of West African music. In New Orleans, a unique convergence happened. African rhythms met European instruments. The blues emerged from the Mississippi Delta, ragtime developed its syncopated piano style. And from this mixture, something entirely new was born, jazz. What made it revolutionary? First, improvisation. Classical music was fixed. Jazz was spontaneous. A conversation between musicians. Second, syncopation. Jazz emphasized the weak beats, the spaces in between. It swung. It made your body move. Third, it was democratic. You didn't need formal training. You needed feeling. Soul mattered more than technique. Louis Armstrong changed what a solo could be, transforming them into emotional narratives. Duke Ellington proved jazz could be sophisticated art. These pioneers created a new language, a new way of expressing the Black American experience. Between 1916 and 1970, 6 million Black Americans left the South in the Great Migration, taking jazz with them. Suddenly, it was urban, modern, the soundtrack of city life. Harlem became a cultural capital. But the contradiction was stark. White America loved jazz music while oppressing jazz musicians. World War I changed everything. American soldiers deployed to Europe brought jazz records. James Reese Europe's Harlem Hellfighters band stand French crowds. After the war, performers like Josephine Baker became sensations in Paris, more famous there than in segregated America. Europe embraced jazz before much of America did. In Paris, it was sophisticated. In London, jazz clubs sprouted. In Berlin, it was the sound of cultural rebellion. The 1920s roared worldwide, and jazz was the soundtrack. In Tokyo, dance halls played jazz records. In Buenos Aires, it influenced tango. In Moscow, young people secretly listened as a symbol of forbidden freedom. But jazz didn't just replace local music, it transformed it. Classical composers like Ravel and Stravinsky incorporated its elements. Popular music absorbed it. Brazilian musicians combined jazz with samba to create bossa nova. Cuban musicians fused it with Afro-Cuban rhythms, creating Latin jazz. The resistance tells you something important. Jazz was threatening. It represented freedom, individual expression, and breaking from tradition. Authoritarian regimes feared that. During the Cold War, the U.S. State Department sent jazz musicians like Louis Armstrong and Dizzy Gillespie on international tour as cultural ambassadors. The irony, these musicians returned home to segregation. Yet abroad, jazz communicated something real about Black American resilience and creativity, even inspiring anti-colonial movements. By the mid-20th century, jazz was truly global. John Coltrane studied Indian music. Miles Davis explored Spanish and African influences. European jazz developed its own identity. Black Americans created the language, but the conversation became global. Today, its influence is everywhere. Hip-hop owes everything to jazz, the improvisational spirit, the rhythmic complexity, the roots in Black American innovation. Modern R&B, neo soul, electronic music, they all carry jazz DNA. Today, vibrant jazz scenes exist in surprising places. Estonia, South Korea, South Africa has contributed to the global sound. Digital platforms have democratized jazz. A young musician in Lagos can study Miles Davis instantly. The next great jazz innovation might come from anywhere. In a world of algorithmic playlists, jazz offers something rare, authentic human expression. It teaches listening, its democracy in musical form. Jazz proves that art born from oppression can transcend its origins, that innovation often comes from the margins. This story is still happening, right now. A new cultural form is emerging from a marginalized community. It will face resistance, it will be called crude or dangerous. And if it's authentic, it will spread. Jazz teaches us that the margins often hold the future. Be open, be curious, be willing to improvise, respect tradition, but don't be bound by it. Because revolutions don't always come from the powerful. Sometimes they come from people the powerful tried to silence. And once they start, they're unstoppable. If this story inspires you, share it. And if you want to explore more stories of how marginalized voices reshape the world, there's more to come. Stay open to what's emerging. The future might sound different than you expect.